Yo, good people. It's your homie HerbMan. Busting you back upside the head with another hot banger boogie. Please go tell somebody to go tell somebody your homie HerbMan is on. Yes, sir. And if you're new to the program, welcome. Please follow, like, share, and subscribe on all the platforms at Love HerbMan. All right, so I am your neighborhood holistic practitioner. I'm your homie HerbMan. We're coming live from South Africa, live on TikTok, live on YouTube. Go get somewhere, get situated so that you can learn how to heal thyself. But you cannot heal yourself unless you know thyself. And we're going to teach you here about the human frame and the human design so that you guys can be well on your way to happiness, wholeness, and the wellness that you surely deserve, okay? And you don't have to worry about paying for anything that you hear here today because it's free information. If you get it, you got it, you good. All we simply ask you to do is pay attention. And how you do that on the HerbMan Show is by double tapping that screen and getting us up to 100,000 likes during the live broadcast. I'm going to work for my food. You work for yours. Let's heal together. Let's heal together, okay? Please hold all calls and texts and all these old distractions and interruptions while we're on the live. After I get off the live, I will take any kind of consultations, questions, or any kind of concern that you have, all right? So you guys keep tapping. I'm going to keep talking, and let's do this doggone thing. Yes, sir. Let's do the doggone thing. In the beginning, okay, we're going to go all the way back to the beginning. How many of you think that you know what our sole purpose or our role was in the beginning? If you do, you can let us know. You can put it in the chat. Let us know. In the beginning, okay? So when you go back to the beginning, then it's going to show you why it is very important to learn what I'm teaching you guys about how to grow your life. A lot of you guys got great ideas, but that don't mean that they're going to grow. A lot of you guys got great intention, but it don't mean that it will grow. A lot of you guys got great meaning behind what you want to do, but it doesn't mean that it is just going to just grow like that. You got to know how to grow things. Okay, you got to know how to grow things. And so real quick, I'm going to go ahead and just pull this receipt out. You guys keep tapping. I'm going to keep talking. We already at 1,000 likes. I'm going to get my teaching going. All right, so here we go right here. Back up, bick up, back up, boom. Back up, bick up, back up, boom. All right. Bick up, back up, book up, boom. Genesis 2:15. For my YouTubers, Genesis 2:1-5. Okay, Genesis 2:15. And the Lord God took the man. Man was not about just a gender, it was a species. And the Lord God took the man and put him into the Garden of Eden to tend to it and guard it. Some will say to dress it and keep it. Some will say to cultivate. And so what you understand in this particular verse is that your first job was a caretaker. Your first job, the first programming, okay? This is the first programming, okay? Let me remove this out the screen real quick. This is the first programming, okay? This is the first programming. You were first programmed to be a caretaker. And then you got programmed into being a consumer, a conqueror. And there is a true difference between conquering and caretaking. But your first initial job, the first thing that you ever was programmed to do, is the first also lesson that you lost today. How to take care of yourself. How to take care of your nature. You learned that by how to take care of nature. You learn how to take care of the body by learning how to take care of the plants, animals, and the fruits. You were a caretaker first, way before you became a conqueror or a consumer. And so the thing about this is understanding how to get your first programming back. Because the thing about it is when you get diagnosed with these diseases, when you get diagnosed with poverty, when you get diagnosed with loneliness, do you know how to grow out of that environment? Seeds are not promises, but they are stored up potential. And your seeds are your ideas. But your ideas are not promised to happen. They're just balls of potential. And every life begins with a domatic genetic intelligence. Every life begins with this dormant thing. And your seeds or your ideas don't guarantee that they're going to happen. They don't guarantee the outcome. They only contain instructions because they're light. Enlightenment. Shed some light on something. So when you're going through these options, they're not promises. And in gardening, and this piggybacking off yesterday for you guys to understand what we're doing, because if you can get this, you won't get it and you ain't got it. In gardening, a seed It only knows what to become, but it does not decide when and where and how fast. Your ideas only know what to become. They don't decide the when and the how fast. And what you got to understand is that in life, health is encoded in you. In life, the wealth capacity is encoded in you. In life, the relational capacity is encoded in you. And you got to know how to decode encodedness. You got to know what this stuff means. Okay? Because again, destiny is not a genetic thing. Expression is environmental. And a seed planted in poor condition, an idea planted in poor condition, a baby planted in poor condition, it doesn't fail because of the other nuances, because the reality of it is that that seed is going to try to survive. That seed will try to mutate. That seed will try to be patient and wait, or either it will wither silently. And that's what's happening to our ideas. And these ideas are your prayers, your meditations, your manifestations, your future plans, your goals, your desires, your wants, your needs. These are seeds. Your children, your business ideas. These are your seeds. And you got to learn how to get back to caretaking so that you can produce that which you want in life. You got to learn how to get back to knowing how to caretake so that you can produce what it is that you want in life. And when you produce it, you can consume it. Only produce what you consume and only consume what you produce, but you got to get back to learning how to grow things in your life. See, just because you started somewhere don't mean you end up that way. Just because they said you're sick don't mean you die sick. Just because they said you're poor don't mean you die poor. Just because they said you're lonely don't mean you can die lonely. You can change all of this. You can transform all of this. Life is about transformation. It's about taking something. It's about taking nothing and making something from it. It's about having nothing and bringing something out of it. It's about transforming. It's about alchemy. It's about elemental manipulation. You're supposed to be able to know how to use these natural elements and resources to your favor. So just because diagnosis come through the clouds doesn't mean that you don't have a buffer of it, because you got to know how to manipulate that frequency coming to you that way. See, gardeners, they know that soil is important. They know that the environment is important. Adam knew that the garden and the environment was important. You got to understand that when they gave Adam this particular task of being a husband to the land, he got to know how to till. He had to know how to irrigate, right? He had to know how to do all these things, because tilling the land and irrigation and harvesting and all these things are principles. They're not people, they're principles. So gardeners know soil is layered. You got a topsoil, you got a subsoil, and then you got a deeper rooted soil called the bedrock. Okay? You got a topsoil, you got a subsoil, and you got a deeper rooted. So the topsoil for you is your daily habits, your daily routines. The subsoil for you is going to be your emotional memory. And then the bedrock is going to be the real deeply rooted stuff, which is your beliefs and your identity. And most people try to change the plants. Okay? You got this little plant growing, my little true leaf right here. Then you got these little layers of soil. So every time you do something, it's right uphill. You're trying to change the plant because they told you that the disease is uphill. So you trying to change the arthritis from here. You try to help your kidneys from here. You try to do your liver cleanse from here. You try to help your cancer and tumors from here. You try to do your finances from here. You try to help your relationships from here. You try to change the plant. So you always changing people and changing doctors and changing diets and, come on somebody, changing jobs and careers. Most people try to change the plant while ignoring the soil. And this soil is 3 layers, so it's compacted. And compacted then can occur in your life as well. I'm trying to teach you how to grow your life. Keep tapping and I'll keep talking. Compaction in your life looks like life when it's rushed. Compaction occurs in your life when emotions get suppressed. Compaction gets introduced in your body when your seasons are not addressed appropriately and they're being skipped and treated like every day. Roots cannot penetrate compacted soil. And when you block the roots of your life, you create a surface full of symptoms. And this is why a lot of times trying fails. Your effort fails a lot. But environment will succeed. The next time you get with a doctor, a herbalist, or anybody trying to help you, your trainer, your personal trainer at the gym, whoever is trying to help you get somewhere, you want to ask them, Doc, you ain't said nothing about my environment. I need to know about the environment. Don't just try to heal me at the place. Heal me in the environment. Heal me in the environment, right? That's what you want to do. And that's why I keep trying to tell you guys about understanding the soils of your life, understanding the seeds of your life. That seed is not a promise, but it's full of potential. Your idea, you are full of potential, but you require things that's going to help these potentials grow into the promises that you're looking toward. And the next thing you want to look at is irrigation, right? Because now we got the seed, we got the soil. Now we need to provide the food. And this is the feeding of your ideas, the feeding of your manifestations, the feeding of your wants and your needs and your desires. And in agriculture, irrigation is very important because too much water kills the roots, and too little water will kill the growth. But rhythm sustains the life. So what this is saying is that we know that irrigation is my emotions. Too much emotions, feeling too much about something will kill the roots, and feeling too little about something will kill the growth of the idea. You know how sometimes you got an idea to do it, but it's like, I want to do it, but girl, I'm all right if I don't do it. So you ain't got enough feeling behind it. That idea will never grow. And then you ever seen somebody that just want to do something so bad? I gotta do it. I want to do it. I'm gonna die if I don't do it. Look, you got too much going on, and flooding gonna kill the roots. And so in humans, this looked like overstimulation. That's the flooding. Neglect is the drought. But entrainment and rhythm, that's the regulation. And that's what we're teaching you here on the HerbMan Show, okay? And this is the owner's manual. All this information is in the owner's manual, you guys. So if you want the owner's manual, you just DM us and we will get you every single thing that you desire when it comes to that, okay? But this stuff, it must be understood. This is no farce. The first job that was ever given to us was being a caretaker. That was the first programming. That's when you was in utopia. That's when you was learning love and everything from land, not from nothing else. And then you got created a counterpart to partake in the love offering that you were given to land and man. See, it was about how your relationship, again, husbandry. I don't know if y'all ever heard the word husbandry before. Let me see if I got a receipt for that real quick. Husbandry. Okay, but I know you know that when they got booted out of the garden, it was to till the land. And then it said that she would travail in labor. Now you think that's childbirth, but travail in labor has been one of the most fundamental things in women's rights since the beginning, right? To travail in the labor, the work of an idea, birthing an idea. Women have the most trouble birthing their ideals under a patriarchal society, right? So that's what we're talking about. the birthing of an idea, the birthing of something new. She would travail in labor. She got to work to bring her newness to the table. Okay, especially in this patriarchal diaphragm. So then we understood that, okay, both of them had work, both of them had titles, both of them had roles in caretaking. Okay, in caretaking. And the fundamental thing that I'm trying to teach you guys today is that if you don't know how to take care, if you don't know how to take care of yourself, then you missed the golden rule in the first place. And we're trying to sit up here and teach you guys how to take care of yourself. You know what I'm saying? But you're so far disconnected from Mother Earth, and you're trying to be so spiritual when you're not quite yet even natural. How can you be super? Your super comes from your naturalness. You can't get it before then. You're only supernatural when you're just natural. When you just go back to being natural is when you tap into your supernatural powers. You can't go super yet until you go back to being natural in your natural state. In your natural state lies your superpowers. And health, wealth, and family, and whatever else you're trying to grow in life, you got to know that when input matches your absorption capacity, things will grow. The more water doesn't mean better water. Timing matters in every single thing you do. And that's why the owner's manual with your birthday is putting the timing perspective back in so that you can understand how to treat every day. And you must understand what the day is saying so you know what to do to your ideal. You know what to do to your baby. You know what to do to your body. You know what to do to the land. God didn't speak out loud. He spoke in the day. He spoke in the daily patterns. God didn't speak out loud. He spoke in daily patterns. That means he spoke in the weather. God didn't speak out loud. He didn't use language. He used nature. And nature was the weather. It was the orientation of, it was the environment. Y'all say y'all follow the Son of God, but that's in word, not in deed. Timing matters. And so the morning irrigation works because soil can receive in the morning. So that's why we tell you to get up in the morning, do your deep breathing, do your intentions way before you do your actions. Why? Because not only is this a replica of nature, but it's also is how your nervous system operates. Yes, it's how your nervous system operates. Okay. And then next you have, after irrigation, you have something called phototropism. Okay. Phototropism is kind of like what you grow toward. You know, if you see your plants, it'll bend toward the sunlight, depending on the window that you got them in. And plants bend toward light automatically. They do not question the sun. But humans, however, can bend away from the sun. You can bend toward urgency and bend toward your own goals, and you can grow toward fear, and you can reach toward approval. But what you got to understand is that whatever you make your attention on becomes your sun God, becomes the Son of God. Let me repeat that one more time. They said I got about 10 people in the room with hearing aids on. Whatever receives your attention becomes your idol, becomes your sun God. And a lot of you guys are focused on the money, the bag. And that's why you can't. There's so many people, if you heard them yesterday, they want to heal, but they got so much they're trying to do. Well, you got to choose. The Bible said you cannot serve God and mammon. Life grows toward what you orient it to. Health will bend toward safety. Wealth will bend toward clarity. And family will bend toward presence if you want it to. You got to know nature. Then you'll understand your nature. And then when it comes to this thing of pruning, keep tapping, you guys. I'll keep talking. Keep tapping. Let's get up to 100,000 likes. Trust me, you never heard this before this way, right? When it comes to pruning in your life, these are necessary losses that sometimes you guys are just not willing to do. But you got to prune. Pruning is necessary. And pruning doesn't mean that you're destroying anything. It is an energy redirection. See, when you look at gardening and understanding the gardening truth, overgrown plants provide less fruit, if you didn't know that. Dead branches would drain the life of the other leaves and branches. And the shape of your tree determines the yield. Pruning is necessary. Okay? Now, in your life, what did this pruning look like? That's what you got to ask yourself. In life, what does pruning look like? Well, you got some habits that need to be cut off. You got some habits that can reduce circulation. You got some relationships that can block the light. You got some identities issues within you that can restrict the growth. And what you don't remove, you got to feed it. So you feed these habits and you feed these coping mechanisms because nobody taught you how to remove them. And a lot of times when you prune, they feel like loss. How many people have changed their life and lost people? Pruning can feel like loss. But that is only because you are attached to these identities. You are attached to these identities. And then when it comes down to the companionship planting and the family growth and the relationship ecology, yes, some plants will enhance each other. Some plants can share nutrients and some plants can repel pests naturally. But other plants can compete for the light. Others can compete for the water. Others can compete for the root space. How many of you are in competition instead of in communal? And family systems are no different. They're going to have these two structures. Either you're competitive with each other or you're communal. Family systems are no different. Harmony is not that we got to be the same. Harmony is when we have this complementary function. So we can be opposite and work in harmony. And healthy families, especially like the polycultures, they knew what they were doing instead of the monocrops. Because remember, you got to be a gardener. So you used to see people that could plant 3 plants at a time. Okay? They could plant 3 plants in one bed, right? You would have some, you may have some corn, some bean, and squash all in one plant, the 3 plants, polyculture, instead of planting one. Okay? Now, historically, if you guys go look this up, this is what they were talking about with the terra preta and the black earth and the Kemet and the black land and all this type of stuff. And if you go to the Amazon, you'll see that they were doing these 3 plant systems. Okay, and in these 3 plant systems, it would make the soil so fertile. And then you'll look and start researching Egypt, and you'll realize that they only had 3 seasons, but they understood that when the flood came, that it would leave behind a fertile silt, S-I-L-T. That fertile silt, yes, you got to get high rise for the flood, but every time destruction comes, it leaves behind opportunity for transformation. So the flood would leave behind the opportunity to grow from that particular void that you've seen. And so you got to understand these things, to understand when the plant grow, and understand the value that comes with the flood and the value that comes with the low tide, the value that comes with the high tide of life and the value that comes with the low tide of life, the value that comes with the mountaintop and the value that comes from the valley low. And when you get this and understand it, then there's a peace that should come over you. There's a tranquility, because there's something good here and something that you're going to learn here. And so there's good in both areas of life when it comes to cohesiveness, coherence, peace, and tranquility. Then that means that there's nowhere I can be and not get better and not do better. And so then after you got all this stuff planted and everything growing, you got to watch out for the pests in life. And pests ain't enemies, they signals. And pests appear where plants are stressed. The pests appear at your weakest point. And pests are not a problem in your life. They're just the indicators. They're the alarm. So in life, pests can look like what? Conflict. And that conflict can indicate imbalance. All right? Pests can look like illness. And that illness can indicate depletion. Pests can look like financial strain. And that financial strain can indicate a system weakness. And when you start spraying pesticides, all you're doing is doing what? Treating the symptoms. But strengthening the plants, you have to restore the balance. And when you'll see this, you'll see that a strong system doesn't attract predators, because the predators know they can't mess with you. They know they can't mess with you. Let me get this down real quick. See, when you got strong at the roots, them folk gonna leave you alone. They know they can't mess with you. See, sickness know it can't mess with you. Cancer know it can't mess with you when you're strong at the roots. And that's why you got to understand how timing is everything, you guys. And when you out here and you don't know this stuff and you don't understand what I'm teaching you about this owner's manual, and you think that this little funky measly $50 is not a great investment for you, keep on searching, keep on scrolling, and keep on investing, and you're still gonna die in the end, because nobody's teaching you how to live. There's no story of living. There's no everlasting life concepts and principles. Everything is making you run straight into a dead end. And so therefore, what hope in life if I'm going to die anyway? And you got to get out of that program. Timing is everything. If you start not understanding the seasons of life and you start keeping overriding what the day's saying, what God is saying, what nature is saying, if you keep overriding these patterns and you start harvesting too early, you deplete the plant. You reduce the future yield when you want it now instead of later. And when you harvest too late, waiting too long, you invite rot. How many ladies are going through this? They're waiting too long to create these babies. Now you can't even have it. Harvesting too late, you invite rot. Harvesting too late also will attract pests. Keep tapping the screen, you guys. I know y'all intently listening. Get us to 100,000 likes, okay? Keep tapping. We almost got 100 people in the live already. So keep tapping, I'll keep talking. Let's share this stuff. This is not just for you. This is for your loved ones. I'm going to make a minister out of you. Stop trying to come here selfishly. Shout. Tell them. Let them know you tried. Life harvest requires discernment. You got to know when to rest. You got to know when to receive. You got to know when to reinvest. If you become a wise harvester, then you'll see that that will feed your future, not just your present. You got to become a wise harvester. Somebody put that in the chat. A wise harvester, knowing the seasons, and the owner's manual will put you back into understanding of these seasons. Because if you don't, then everything lies in dormancy. And then at the end of the day, dormancy is not necessarily a bad thing, because there is intelligence in silence. And a lot of us sometimes think that dormancy is something that, well, we're just inactive and we can't do nothing and we ain't gonna do nothing. But that's not true. Sometimes it is just internal reorganization. You got to look at the winter time. That's dormancy, but it's necessary. Winter is necessary. The roots deepen. The pathogens, they die in the winter. The nutrients get redistributed in the winter. But when you never go dormant, you never rest. Again, a bunch of people got issues, but their life is so busy. I don't see how you're going to do it without you understanding these concepts. Because if you don't ever go dormant, if you just can't go dormant, your life just will not allow you to go dormant, then guess what? You're going to burn out. You're going to die out. You're going to lose fertility. You're going to lose and break your systems. Nothing alive on this planet grows endlessly. Rest is not an option. It's structural to your existence. It's necessary. And some of you guys got it fooled. You're talking about you're resting, but that ain't sleep. You're talking about you're sleeping, but that ain't rest. And you need to learn how to design a life that is sustainable. You need to learn how to design a life that is sustainable. And we teach you this with the owner's manual for a measly funky $50. If you guys are interested, DM somebody, DM me, and somebody will get back into you. All right. A mature life, it recycles energy. It knows that that's important. A mature life reduces waste. It knows that that's important. A mature life, a caretaker of its life, of its land. It creates surplus without exhaustion. Health sustains health. The health of the land sustains the health of the man. Wealth funds well-being. And family can become your empire. It can become your refuge. Your goal should not be success. The goal should be regeneration. Somebody say regeneration in the chat. The goal is not success. It's regeneration. I keep trying to tell y'all this old alchemy thing ain't nothing but about production, producing. Can you take the energy given and can you transform it and produce something and regenerate something new? Can you take negative energy and produce positive? Can you take a storm and produce calm? Can you take a diagnosis and produce healing? Can you take brokenness and produce amendment? Can you take the environmental stimuli and transform it into something beneficial for you? You got to understand that you're not behind time. You are not broken. You are somewhere in this growing cycle, and you just got to know where you are. You just got to know where you are. And I'm going to teach you how to not only manage life, but how to cultivate it. And those who understand this will stop forcing your outcomes and start designing your environments. And we want to teach you guys how to do this. We want you to understand the caretaker program versus the conqueror or the consumer program. I want you to understand what crop husbandry really was and what was the first duty, the job, and the role. They were told to till the land before they sinned, and then after they sinned, still got told that that was what they needed to do. And you need to understand how your life can be sustained through the land, with your relationship with nature. And husbandry is not about a man, it's about both of us. Husbandry don't mean ownership. It means responsibility through relationship. A husband man. Somebody put a husband man. Let me put it up there. See, a lot of you guys out here trying to find this right here. But a husband man, they're the meteorologists, baby. They're gonna observe before acting, because the observation tells them how to create the action. A husbandman will serve the land so the land can serve life. A husbandman thinks in generations, not just seasons. You must understand that land is going to answer the question of the care, but not command. And when humans stop tracking, when humans stop practicing husbandry, they begin practicing extraction, consumption, conquering. And this is where the imbalance begins. In you. Listen to what I'm saying. This is where it begins in you. I can help you do anything. So Mitch. I can help you do anything. DM me, get your owner's manual. That's all you need. Okay? Your owner's manual and probably a 21-day detox, and you're good to go. We also have a deal right now. If you get the owner's manual and the detox, which is $100 purchase, we're going to throw in the 30-day supply of these herbs that you get from your owner's manual for free. So you basically got a 50-day program for $100. In 50 days, you should be able to cure your blood pressure, your blood sugar, a lot of these autoimmune issues, cancer issues, a lot of these arthritic issues, a lot of these things. Once I change your life, I change the condition of the situation. You were supposed to be a steward, not a master. And in true agriculture, man does not dominate the land. In true agriculture, man partners with God, partners with nature. The land sets the limits. The land will signal to you the readiness. The land will enforce the rest. But man's role is not to override these signals. You keep overriding these signals. You're not supposed to override the signals of nature. You're supposed to know how to interpret them. You're supposed to know how to decode them. Remember, you're supposed to know how to manipulate them. The land will always speak. God will always speak to you through nature. Civilizations have collapsed when they stop listening to nature. And so we're so heavily conquered, so heavily consumptive, and you're not listening and paying attention to what the God, thus said the Son of God, thus God said. And there's another aspect to gardening that you don't understand, which is called the fallow. How many of you guys know what fallow means? You can put ones in the chat if you've ever heard of fallowing. Fallowing ain't nothing but the rest. The land has a right to rest. And in crop husbandry, land is left fallow. You leave the land left fallow to do what? To rebuild nutrients, to restore the microbial life, to prevent the exhaustion of the land. Land that never rests or never become fertile like you think. It'll be sterile. Humans who never rest, you lose your creativity. You lose your fertility. You lose your resilience. Again, I see a lot of people trying to heal. Can't rest. It's impossible. Burnout is your human soil being exhausted. And following is not something like wasted time. It's just invisible preparation. And we got to start learning how to garden. Understanding that crop rotation is important. So sometimes your life can change its form. You got to be welcoming to that. Because the farmers, they'll rotate their crops because different plants can draw different nutrients, okay? So it's very important to know how to rotate your crops because some crops can restore what others deplete. It was important to do this because diversity sometimes can prevent the collapse of your garden. So it's okay to understand transformation. Life must change form. So in humans though, but when we stay stagnant, then we repeat the same roles over and over and over, repeating the same things over and over, generation after generation. We're standing the same emotional cycles of our parents and forefathers, and we mad at the same man and all this type of stuff. Come on, man. We're refusing to do some stuff and shift seasons in our life because we think that that's what we're supposed to be going through because of a historical concept and all this type of stuff of our families. And no, that's not true. Restoration is how land remembers how to feed itself. And when you so monocultural, so one-tracted, that will invite disorder and disease. That new thing. How can I create this new thing? Understanding how to till. So you had the fallow, which is the rest. Then you got to understand the tilling concept of the husbandman. The tilling is the disturbance with purpose. Tilling is not a destructive concept. It is a measured disruption. It breaks the compassion of the topsoil, subsoil construct. It can introduce air flow to the life or to the soil. The tilling, it prepares the ground for new roots, new ideas, new concepts. Do y'all get what I'm teaching you? How to garden, how to grow things in your life. But if you don't know how to till and you start over-tilling, then what you're doing is you're killing microbes. And how many of you seen somebody over-tilling? Over vegans. I'm talking to you, over vegan, over alkaline eater. See, you can over till, and guess what? You're killing microbial life. You can over till and erode the soil. You can over till and weaken the structure. And in your life, over tilling can cause open growth. Over tilling can cause too much disruption, which will destroy the stability of your systems. But understand that disturbance ain't always a bad thing. But unrelenting disturbance will get you in trouble. And the wisdom of the owner's manual is to know the difference between the two. Know the difference between when to till and when to leave the soil alone. Yes, sir. This is what Adam and Eve knew. God taught them this. How to be caretakers, not conquerors, not consumers. And this water thing is also going to be very important for you to respect the flow. Traditional people have always respected the water rights. because water belongs to the land first. Humans borrow it temporarily, but flow must be protected. And when you start to block the flow, then that's when you start seeing flood upstream, your mind. You start seeing a drought downstream. So if it flood upstream, then your mind is flooded full of emotions and things that you're thinking about. And then if it's a drought downstream, then your body ain't got enough what it needs to live. Come on, somebody. Come on, somebody. So in your human systems, this is what this looks like. And life survives where the flow is honored. And you got to understand that when I'm telling you to live by time, I'm not telling you to live by a clock. Okay? Somebody said, put that in the chat. Live by timing, not clocks. Put it in the chat. Live by timing, not clocks. Okay? When I tell you to live by timing, I ain't talking about that clock on your wall. Yes, sir, your biological clock does not go by the clock on your wall. Live by timing, not by the clocks. We want you to live by timing, not by the clocks. That's why the owner's manual is the best nature-based health assessment on the planet today, because we're putting you back in timing, not clocks. The farmers of old, they plant sun position, they plant by temperature, they plant by soil readiness, by dates on the calendar, not by dates on a piece of paper. Modern humans plant effort by what? Deadlines. I got to meet a deadline. Oh, I got to go. You put a deadline here. I got to get it done. Now you're under pressure and social comparisons. Nature uses timing. Humans use urgency. Two different things. And one of them is going to create balance, while the other one is going to create exhaustion. So you must be able to understand that there is, in this relationship between you and Mama Nature, in this relationship between you and God, there is a mutual investment in regeneration. And in regenerative systems, like the relationship between man and land, in regenerative systems, the animals fertilize the land. Land feeds the animals. Movement prevents the damage. Stillness destroys what? Pasture. Movement restores it. As a human, you also require these same patterns. This is how they was able to live this long back then. Humans also require movement. Not just only in your body, but movement of roles and responsibilities. Humans require circulation of responsibility. They require shared labor. But when you get stagnation in that, then that's going to degrade all the living systems within. And when we start to break this covenant between man and land, when land breaks its covenant with you, then the land is overworked. When the land is overworked, when the land is poisoned, when the land is stripped, it responds to you with what? Famine is giving you diseases. It'll give you collapse. I don't know if you're listening. It's not about Trump. It's about this. When man breaks his covenant with the land, and when the land feels overworked, and it feels poisoned and stripped of its nutrients, it will respond to you with famine, disease, and collapse. And this ain't a punishment. It's simply the feedback from what you've been doing as a caretaker. And the same is true in your body, in your family, and in your finances. The land will never betray man, but man can betray the relationship. The land never betrays man. Man betrays the relationship. How many of you have betrayed and know that you have betrayed the relationship between you and land? How many of you, if you can put your hands up, put some ones in the chat, and you know based on what you heard today, that yeah, you know what? I have abandoned my relationship between me and land, me and nature. Yes, I have betrayed my relationship between me and nature. I don't want to say God, but y'all know what I'm talking about. But I'm using this in a perspective that you can understand. See, God sometimes can get all fluffy and you don't know what color it is and what it looked like. But land, you Mama Nature, you know what that looks like. So let's put a visual on it and a perspective on it that you can confide in and understand. How many of you have betrayed your relationship between you and the land, you and Mama Nature? And what you don't know is that you're not separate from the land. You are the land. You are the land walking upright. And you must treat yourself the way that the wise farmers treated soil. I believe that when man remembers his role as a caretaker instead of a conqueror, life will reorganize itself naturally. And you're so busy trying to conquer these desires, wants, and needs that you've abandoned your caretaking abilities. Health is the soil husbandry, YouTube and TikTok. Wealth is the crop planting. And your family is the land ownership or the land stewardship, I would say. You got to remember this stuff. You got to remember this stuff. You got to go back to caretaking and understanding what this means. And so when we give you your herbs in your owner's manual and the food colors, and when we give you the nature-based interventions, and when you see all of this information that you get into your owner's manual, you're seeing that it's trying to help you, offer you the opportunity to know what nature is saying about your life. Yeah, you know what you say, you know what your mama say, you know what your spouse say, your children may say about your life, you know what your friends and family may say about you, but do you know what nature has to say about you? And this is this opportunity that we're offering for this little measly funky $50. Now, again, if you get the detox and you get the owner's manual, then you will get a 30-day supply of the owner's manual herbs for free, absolutely free. And this is a 50-day program that quite honestly will take away some of this most chronic illnesses, okay? High blood pressure, high blood sugar, all these little chronic illnesses you got should be gone in that 50-day program. And you can't beat that for $100. And we don't throw 1,000 products at you. You're getting 2 herbal products and your owner's manual. We know herbs. We don't have to throw 1,000 products. We don't need for you to feel overwhelmed with all these teas and tonics and this, that, and the third. That's somebody don't know what they're doing. If anybody sell you something and you got 15 products, they didn't know what they were doing, and they're throwing any and everything at you to see what hit. We don't do that no more, kinfolk. We learned herbs before, and then God showed us the system. A lot of people are caught up in herbs, but they don't have a system. You can't ever replace healthcare system just because you are knowledgeable with herbs. You got to create systems that can be comparable and viable to other systems so that we can heal a lot of people. Right? So yes, we come up with a system. And this is the most inclusive system on the planet. Traditional Chinese medicine, African medicine, Western herbalism, Ayurvedic, all of this stuff, Tibetan, all this stuff is tapped into this stuff. Egyptian, Everything is tapped into the system. We know what we're doing. Any questions? Yes, Manny. Environment oriented. There you go, bro. Speak it loud. Environment oriented. Stop chasing the weeds and use the weeds to change the environment. Because nothing is going to grow because you want it to, you guys. You're not going to get healed because you want to. You're not going to get rich because you want to. You're not going to find your husband or wife because you want to. Nothing grows because you just want it to. Everything grows because the conditions, the environment is just right for it. Some of you guys want healing. But the reality of it that since we've been talking, do you really have an environment that's conducive to healing? Some of y'all want wealth, but come on, let's keep it real. Do we really have an environment that's producing wealth or encouraging wealth? Some of you guys want this family. But let's keep it honest, man. Are you really surrounded by things that are promoting family? Health, wealth, and family are ideas. They're your babies planted in soil. These are not goals chased in time. They're your babies. They're your seeds that you planted in soil. You have to take care of that baby. You have to have the right hormonal balance to produce a baby, man and female. Then you got to have the right mind to produce an ideal. You can't just keep saying you want to be rich. You can't just keep saying you want to be healed. You can't just keep saying you want to have a family. But keep being in an environment that's not conducive of it. It won't happen. And so I'm trying to teach you guys how to make this shit happen for you. If you need anything from me, Cherie, you email me. If you ordered from me before, you're asking how to reorder, then you know how to order the first time, okay? So email me. We'll get you everything that you need. Okay, we'll get you everything that you need. I know you guys are in America, and some of you guys think that I ain't still shipping. We still shipping. Okay, but we're only shipping in the USA, but we're still shipping, okay? So you guys can go and get what you need. Again, if you want a detox, the 21-day detox, so that we can clean this soil up. Okay, 21-day detox, the owner's manual. Okay, and then the herbs from the owner's manual is a 30-day supply. Absolutely free. Okay, and this is a 50-day program altogether, right? 51 days. So this is a 50-day program. Guaranteed to change your life. Because what we're doing is changing the conditions of the soil. We're changing the environment. Okay? We're going to detox all of the bullshit out you, meaning we're going to till the ground. And then we're going to add in the nutrients to the soil that we need. And we're going to let the environment heal itself. We're going to take out all of the toxins out of the soil. Add in the nutrients that are needed in the soil. And let the plant heal itself. It hit me every time I speak it. We're going to take out all of the toxins in the soil that's apprehending or been apprehensive to your growth. And then we're going to put back in the right nutrients in the soil and let the plant heal itself. Let the environment do what it do best. Let your body recover. This is how you heal yourself, you guys. We get this from nature. This system I'm reintroducing to you from nature. It's nothing more than that. It's not rocket science. This 50-day program will guarantee that you lose the weight that you need, regulate your blood pressure, regulate your blood sugar, and get you back into your body having control over the situation. Okay? Get your body back active and handling the situation. But here's the thing. When you do this 50-day program, you need 50 days to let this thing happen. You can't be overly stimulated in doing this. Okay, so you find you a time. Everybody order from me, they order at different times. Find you a time. People know they now know me, they now understand. Find a time where I got 50 days or I got 90 days. If I'm dealing with herpes and AIDS and all this stuff, I got the time that I need. So I may do it in the beginning of the year because I may not have a birthday till June. I may not have a significant holiday to this, that, and the third. But don't be trying to heal when you're working and you're vacation and you gotta go here, you gotta go do this. Somebody's birthday coming, somebody's holiday. Good, you ain't finna stop. You ain't finna do this stuff. So you find that little time where you can rest you find the time in your life. This is the block where I can do it at. This block of time. And give yourself 50 days. 30 to 60 days is pretty much what the standard is. So if you get this, you got everything. If you get this, you got everything for $100, you guys. Okay? You can go to the website, type in detox, get your detox. Type in a consultation, get your consultation. For $100, you get a 50-day program that's going to pretty much take away most of these chronic conditions. Now, if you got something special, then guess what? With that owner's manual and those herbs, it don't matter what you got going on, for real. Shit. I don't give a damn what y'all calling this stuff from the doctor's office, man. This shit work for $100. This shit work for $100. Okay, this is Mother Nature system. I ain't even got to hold you on that. So I know it works. Thank you for your wisdom. How do I order Chopper Fellas? You just make sure you DM me, my fam. Okay. In the YouTube, could you put the email there for me? All right, Chopper Fellas, we're gonna YouTube you. We're gonna put the email in there so you can be able to get that. I'm gonna do this for my brother real quick, man. Yeah, we gotta stop guessing. We gotta stop doing all this guesswork. Going to these children don't know what they're doing. They just trying to make some money selling sea moss and doing all this type of stuff. These folks don't know nothing about your counsel like that. These children out here, they trying to sell you stuff. They trying to make a living. Just like the doctors, they children trying to make a living. And you up here trying to put your life in the palm of their hand, and all they know how to do is sell herbs and sell prescription drugs. You can't do that. Y'all gotta stop doing that. These folks don't know nothing about you, but they just try to pay their bills. They try to send their children to school and college. They young. They got a lot of passion, and they may act like they care and this and the third, but they never was taught really how to heal you. They were taught how to sell you prescription drugs. They were taught how to sell you herbs. Nobody ever taught them how to heal you, because if they were taught how to heal you, then they'll tell you that you're supposed to heal yourself. And medications do not provide an environment for healing. Matter of fact, they overstimulate the body, overstimulate the nervous system, and do actually the direct opposite. Okay. And then if you get a herbalist that doesn't know what they're doing and going by the status quo and reading the other folk book and going by other folk book, and they haven't been endowed, or they haven't been hit by God themselves, or they haven't been lightning struck themselves, or they haven't been baptized themselves, or they haven't been chosen themselves to be able to provide you a particular curriculum that you can understand, and something new and something that was given to them, and they're just regurgitating up everybody else, then they're not gonna work, because they wasn't there when them folks came up. When them folks got hit by lightning, these children wasn't there. You kind of regurgitate up Dr. Sabi. No, man, you wasn't there. You don't know. You will never be able to be Dr. Sabi, because he the one got struck by lightning and got that gift. You got to don't ask for to be like Dr. Sabi, ask for the lightning strike. Don't try to read my books and be like Dr. Laila Africa. Ask for the gift. Not the book, not his book, but his gift. And you can't get his gift from his book. You can't be Dr. Sabi from the videos. You got to ask for the pain. You got to ask for the sacrifice. You want to be LeBron James and Michael Jordan in the game? You got to ask for LeBron James and Michael Jordan in the practice. You guys are trying to ask for what you're seeing, but you're not willing to do the work behind the scene. So you're asking for the wrong thing, and it'll never happen. I'm telling you that right to your face, right to your bold-headed face. The stuff that you've been asking for, the reason why your prayers ain't working, you've been going to church 40 and 50 years, you're still dying of diabetes, high blood pressure, and cancer. Why? Is because you have been so passive, and you don't understand that you got to do something, mama. Okay? Being a member of the Colgate is not going to get you in heaven. It's not going to get you to bypass death. Being a member of the Baptist, being Jewish, being Muslim, it's not going to get you in. Okay? It's not going to get you in. Those are not the keys to the gate. And I said that. Being white, being black, Asian, it don't matter. Your skin color ain't the key. It won't get you in. Okay? It won't get you in. Okay? It can't get you in. I'm sorry. The only thing going to get you in is mending your relationships. Mending your relationship back with nature. Mending your relationship back with nature. You got to think about what you've been doing. Ignoring the air, polluting the water, polluting the earth, just overriding your own nature because you have no respect for it. Remember that you were programmed to be a caretaker, but then because of whatever happened, now we're transitioning into being consumer. So your programming went from taking care of yourself and land to consuming the land and consuming one another. So if you want to get back to the original program, then you got to get back to learning how to garden. The original job of Adam and Eve, if you believe in this story, is that they were gardeners, caretakers. Then they got booted out and still had to do what? Be gardeners and caretakers. And then you eventually transform from caretaking into being a conqueror and having dominion and dominating and consuming the earth. And you broke the relationship between you and God, between you and nature. And ain't nothing gonna stop you from hurting yourself until you fall back in love with mama. Until you fall back in love with yourself. Ain't nothing gonna stop you from self-harming. There's nothing gonna stop you from early death until you mend the relationship back with you and nature, you and God, you and mama. You mad at your earthly mama. You really mad at your heavenly mama. You mad at your earthly daddy and take it out on your heavenly daddy. Because you've been trying to find love in all the wrong places behind all the wrong faces. I wrote a song like that a long time ago. Have you been looking for love in all the wrong places, trying to find it behind the wrong faces? It's from above. There is no replacing the greatest love of all. It ain't no replacing the greatest love of all. Okay? You don't find it in people. You find it in principles. You find it in places. You find it in things. You find it in nature. Okay? Anybody else got any other questions before we get up out of here? You guys did a horrible job today. I brought a great message, but you did a horrible job at interacting. You did a horrible job at listening. You did a horrible job at sharing. I will go ahead and let y'all know y'all was a bad class today. Not because you wasn't talking to me, because I see a lot of chats on here. But bro, I am a anomaly, but I'm not going to make you believe that or force that on you, okay? But y'all gonna miss me when I'm gone. And I'm already about to ready to put my hat up. I said enough, done enough. Get it while the getting is good. That's all I'm gonna tell you. Don't be dependent. Don't be dependent. What y'all got going on? I just got on here. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Young Cosmo said, keep going, bro. You know me, man. You know me. I go as long as I'm supposed to go. You see what I'm saying? I go as long as I'm supposed to go, and then that's it. I don't override. I don't overstay my welcome. Put it like that. We ain't gonna overstay the welcome now. You know, because at the end of the day, this stuff is on YouTube, you guys. It is on TikTok and everything. You know, we're posting, so you can always go back and learn. You don't have to be here on the live. Okay, you don't have to be here on the live. Okay, so y'all can always go tap back into this information, be a subscriber, be a follower, and then get this information, because again, if you listen long enough, you wouldn't need to pay for anything. Okay, if you really go through all these things that we're teaching you, you won't have to pay nobody for nothing. You get everything that you need. You'll be able to change your life, and you'll be able to do it without having to invest a whole lot of money. This stuff is affordable, accessible, and effective. It's just that you got to know how to put it in perspective. So today we were teaching you about the gardening perspective, because that's really the real thing. If you don't know how to grow your life, if you don't know how to grow your wealth, grow your health, if you don't know how to grow your family, if you don't know how to grow your ideas, then you're always going to see this as a hellacious environment. And if you see this as a hellacious environment, then you're only going to produce what that environment produces. Remember that the intracellular cell, okay? I'm going to show y'all this really quick, and then I'm going to let y'all go, right? This the cell, right? So inside the cell is intracellular. Okay? Outside the cell is extra cellular. Okay. Now here's the thing. This is why environment is so important, and I'm trying to teach y'all this from this perspective. You might not get it, you might not understand it, you might think it's all poo-poo and religious and spiritual and all this bullshit just because of how I teach it. That's fine. You might need to learn this from somebody else. But what I'm really teaching you is environment. So your intracellular, everybody's trying to attack the inside of the cell. We got intracellular cleansing and cellular this and cellular that, right? But that's cool. But here's the thing. The intracellular can be influenced, but the extracellular has the dominant influence. So if you change, let's say you change this intracellular ratio to where it's supposed to be, the 1:1, whatever it is, you change it to that. But what if the extracellular is 3:1? So you done came in and changed the inside the cell to 1:1, right? Let's write it like this, 1:1 ratio. You did that. But the outside of the cell got a 3:1 concentration, a 3:1 ratio. Eventually, the inside will go back to 3:1, because the outside of the cell ultimately influences the inside of the cell. I'm going to say this one more time. The outside of the cell ultimately will influence the inside of the cell. So as a herbalist, a doctor, whatever, I come in, I make your shit where I think it should be. You should, the intracellular is 3:1. Well, let's make it 1:1. Okay, I did it. I got the herbs, I got the meds, I did what it took to put it back to 1:1, but I didn't do anything to the environment. That's a short-lived remedy, because over time, the intracellular will get ultimately influenced by the extracellular, and then this 3:1 ratio will go back to being 3:1, which means that then the disease will come back. And this is how remission happens with cancer. This is how things come back with diseases. I am teaching you the truth. And if that ain't warranted 100,000 or 1,000,000 fucking people on here, then that's what TikTok got y'all motherfucking ass. And TikTok, YouTube got you, and everything got you. Because y'all don't know people coming on here to use this shit to tell the truth. You think everything is a lie. And y'all don't know the truth. I love you guys, man, and until next time. Love HerbMan. Peace. Be a great gardener. Otherwise, the end is imperative.